Welcome everybody to today's review of the Caterpillar 336D excavator with the S365 scrap and demolition shear in 1/50th scale from Norscot. Welcome back everybody. We'll go ahead and get started with the review here. On this side we've got some great labeling, 336D Caterpillar on this side, a nice mirror, as well as some grab rails on this side. As we move up the boom, the hydraulics look nice, hoses on both the bottom of the boom and the top of the boom. And then out towards the shear itself, it's a great color match all the way around, looks really good, as well as the logo on the shear itself. As we rotate towards the back, we begin to look at the counterweight. We've got the large cat logo across the back of the counterweight, some nice little paint for the lights, as well as some eyelets and lifting areas for the counterweight, but they are not drilled through. We got an exhaust, engine cover, Caterpillar across the back of the cab, as well as some great hoses on the bottom here of the boom, especially for a Norscot model. As we rotate to the left side here, again we have the Caterpillar logo 336 across the side. Norscot did a little something interesting with the grill. There is indentions in the die cast, as well as some decals to indicate that. The boom moving up again looks nice. The shear, again, a great model for this model itself. As we move to the bottom of the excavator here, you can see pretty straightforward. There's 4 screws across the bottom. Not a lot different. There are metal tracks and they are spring tension, which is really nice for these models. Alright, now we'll get into some of the functions. Boom raises and lowers very nicely, holds its pose. As the stick or the shear comes out, holds its pose nice, it rotates well. Opening and closing mechanism of the shear itself, pretty tight but works really well. Again, can hold the pose well. Takes a little force to open up. The shear will rotate 360 degrees, but on the review model, this mechanism is a little loose and wobbly, so your model may be different. If you wanted to pose this model on a Lowboy, this is an excellent model for that, as the shear boom or shear stick will tuck completely out of the way, allowing you to bring the boom all the way down. Pretty much bringing the boom as low as the cab on this model. So it would be an excellent model to pose on a Lowboy, or using in a diorama, or putting in a shop. It's nicely tucked away. Now I do realize this particular excavator model that I'm showing here does not actually have a stick with a bucket, but the 336 is made by other manufacturers with the stick and your typical excavating bucket. So I'm going to show you how far this digging depth would go down, and quite a bit. The boom really tucks away. Now it doesn't quite get as nicely down as you might expect with the amount of throw there on the hydraulic cylinders, but overall a pretty good depth for a scale model. As we rotate this model around and zoom in here, as we look at the excavator, on the left hand as we look at it, or right hand if you were sitting on the cab, there is one particular item on this Norscot model that they did a really good job. The steps here actually have some tread plating to them and are actually cut through, so those lines there you see are actually through the metal. So that's a fantastic job from Norscot. When we put this on a surface, it will roll, the tracks will roll. You do need a little bit of a rough surface. They won't do it on a smooth. You got to put a little down pressure. As we continue to look at the tracks on this model, you can see that the bogey wheels are there, but they're actually modeled into the die cast and are not functional, so they won't rotate. As we zoom into the cab, there is a grab rail and a mirror, although on my version the grab rail happened to be broken and we'll need a little super glue. The full scale version of this model and this shear can cut
a solid round bar of 4 3/4 inches or a pipe of 18 inches in diameter. The 336 does come in a Excavator version from Die-Cast Masters and Core Classic, as well as you can now get a 330 from Die-Cast Masters in their Core Classic with the Shear. So a little different than the Norscot models, but you can still obtain these models today in different versions. Again, hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, hit the like button. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications, and we'll see you next time.